Hi guys, this is JP from FSiPanel. Welcome to this video where I will show you a new feature of FSiPanel 2020 for MSFS. It is called Pick My Training Airport. Sometimes when you want to fly low visibility, for example, you need to set up your weather, and with the new MSFS, as you know, it's not always very easy to change the weather according to our needs. So for that, now we can use real live weather, and FSiPanel will look for the perfect airport for your training. We will also look at the Boeing 737 Autoland approach. So for that, we will use the beautiful PMDG 737-800, as you can see now loaded in Geneva on runway 22. And the weather is perfect, so let's find an airport where we can practice some low visibility. So for that, let's go in the simulator and see how FSiPanel can select your airport. And before I forget, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. Okay, here we are in the cockpit of the 737. I didn't touch anything. Now we will start FSiPanel and we will see how we can program the new feature and find an airport that meets our criteria for low visibility training today. So let's start FSiPanel and I will show you the step required to find your perfect airport. Here we go. Geneva has been detected, by FSiPanel, and as you can see now we are VFR. No surprise, beautiful weather outside. The PMDG 737 has been detected. So now to access the new feature, just go to select my airport, or let's go to Geneva there on top of your screen, and then you can see the button random. This is where you need to click, and when you click on random, you get to find my training airport new feature. So what you can do there is select any filter, any criteria you want, and then click on search. Be careful, if you put too many filters, too many criteria, you might not get any result. So for example, now if you would like to practice crosswind landing, you could, for example, go in the wind section and go down to crosswind, and there you can see you have crosswind 10 to 20 knots, crosswind 20 to 30 knots, or more than 30 knots. So if I would choose now crosswind 20 to 30 knots, for example, and I would like as well to have an ILS available, then I have selected these two criteria. I can click on search and I will get right away a list of airports where I can train crosswind landing with that conditions. You can filter the results by flight rules or by airport ICAO code as you need, and then you have all the options there. So if you want to make a new church, click on result filter and apply anything you want. If you would like, for example, to train some landing in snow condition, just select snow, and of course you want an ILS for that approach, click search and you will get right away the result that you can as well sort by the flight rules, and then you can select your training airport. The minimum runway and maximum runway are set here for airliners, 2,000 meters. This is good for a 737, Airbus 320. Most of the mid-range airplane, that's good. If you want to fly a 777 or 747 or 380 or any big aircraft, you can increase the runway requirement, minimum runway requirements, or decrease if you are going for a lighter aircraft. Maximum runway length by default is to maximum, so that gives us the maximum result. So remember that if you set too many parameters there is a lot of chance that when you click search, you will get that message, no airport found meeting your criteria. All right, so today we said we would like to practice some low visibility. So what I will do there is I will simply go to flight condition and we will choose low IFR, and we want an ILS approach, and let's click search and see what we get. We can get a lot of airports. I think Zurich this morning is as well low visibility. So let's have a look if we find Zurich on that list. Most of the time it is, and we can see Zurich right there, which has 300 meters right now with RVR on runway 14, which is more than 2,000 meters. That's very good. 900 meters decreasing. So we have some bad weather. We will also have to take care of the anti-ice as the temperature is 3 degrees. So we will pick up that airport. So to do that, just double click on the METAR as it says here. And now Zurich is selected as our destination airport. Now you can see the METAR for Zurich. It's displayed there again as a reminder, so you can now choose the right runway. Normally in Zurich, we use runway 14 for arrival in low visibility. So we will use runway 14 today for that approach. We could as well use 16 as we see that 16 has lower ARVR just for the training purposes, but let's go for 14, which is the common runway. So we select runway 14 and we will go on the left-hand vectors and low visibility on the 737. If you're doing a real low visibility, it is recommended to go for flaps 40 landing because that gives you a better view at minimum on the approach light to let you decide whether you have to go around or to land. Right, so we are ready to go. And before we go, let me show you quickly what you need for an Autoland on the 737. All right, so the sequence, first we will have to check that the aircraft is system-wise okay to fly a Cat 3 or Cat 2 approach. Anything below Cat 1 is considered as a low visibility approach. So we will check that our aircraft is capable. Normally, if you don't have any system malfunctions and no MEL entry, your aircraft is capable. Then we need to make sure that our approach, our actual runway, meets the requirements as well. We cannot just do a low visibility approach on any runway. Then when the approach is armed, then we can engage the second autopilot. We will see that in a minute. And then the sequence will be at 1,500 feet AGL. Then the 737 will do a system check to make sure that we can land. And this is where the flare mode will be armed. If we miss that second autopilot, we have a second chance at 800 feet. This is the very last time you can engage your second autopilot. If you pass below 800 feet, the autoland will never occur. This is too late and you will have to go around or go to Cat 1 minima. At 400 feet, then the autopilot will start to trim up the aircraft for the flare. So there, this is completely normal. At 50 feet, we will check that the flare mode is engaged and the aircraft will start flaring. This is very important. If it doesn't do it, you have two options. Take it manually and try a land, or the safest option is to go around and try to figure out why the flare mode didn't engage. Next, 27 feet, auto throttle will retard and then we will touch down. Right, so let's see that now on the airplane. So we'll go back to FSiPanel. Okay, so we are ready to fly. I will click Move Aircraft. And we are going on the 737. And as always, do not touch anything when FSiPanel is doing the trimming phase, or you might screw up the trimming phase, sorry. So we just wait. It will take around 30 to 40 seconds and we will be ready for our approach. As you can see, the aircraft is descending toward 3,700 feet. We are on the vectors for the ILS-14. We have the auto brake set to 2. And we have the course of the runway. We will check that in a minute with the approach chart. So now we wait until the aircraft comes to 3,700 feet. And then we will look at the approach requirements. And I will try to show you as well system-wise what can happen on a low visibility approach. So let's just wait for FSiPanel to reach 3,700 feet and to give us the control. And then we will go ahead with the approach briefing. All right, you can see now that we are ready. Hold your brake for 3 seconds to take control. So now this is the right time to check the setting done by FSiPanel. If we look up, we can see that we have the landing lights on. Everything has been set properly. We have the landing elevation. Everything looks good there. And we have the auto brake set. We are flaps 5. The speed is just above Mach 5. And now we will pick up our approach chart and prepare the approach. All right, here we go with the ILS-14 in Zurich. So we are right now on a vector position right there northeast of the airfield we will intercept the track 134, and we are going to descend on a glide slope, which is a 3 degrees descent, and we are going down to our minima. Today we will do Cat 3A, so we'll set our minima to 50 feet AGL. This is radio altimeter minima. You could set your Cat 1 minimum as a backup on the baro, just in case you have a system malfunction. You can just revert your switch to baro, and then you will get that minimum displayed. So for us, we will fly to 50 feet. If we have contact, we land. If not, we will fly the missed approach, which is 4,000 feet missed approach altitude straight ahead, and at 5.1 miles from the ILS past the station, we turn left with maximum 210 knots onto 359, so basically heading north, and we intercept the radial 231 to Zurich East, and that's about it. There is no need to brief the whole go around because it's very long. Usually what I do on my own briefing is the first step, and then you can revert and to the chart later on. It's very important to remember two things. What is your clearance altitude, because that will be set as soon as glide slope is captured, and where should I go for the first step. So runway heading 5 miles, easy, then left turn heading north, and then we have time to engage LNAV. Right, so now briefing, we will check that we have localizer 111.75 set, and that we have the right course set in the FMC. So let's have a look. We can see 134, 134, 1175, 1175. We are perfectly fine. And in case of missed approach, we need to intercept a track inbound to Zurich East. So I will set Zurich East as backup. So I standby frequency 110.05. So I will set 110.05 just in case in my standby frequency. Good. So now we will set the minimum. So this is a 50 feet radio. So we'll go to radio and 50 feet. The minimum is set. Now, right now we are out of icing conditions, but the approach will be in fog and low temperature probably. So then we will most probably use the anti-ice during descent. So keep in mind, and we are almost ready for the approach. So let me show you now a few things about the requirements, and we need to make sure that we can fly the low visibility. So as you can see now on that chart, the limitation if you're conducting an LVP approach. So as soon as your weather is less than Cat 1, you have to make sure that the low visibility procedures are in force at your destination airport. Now in the simulator, we can assume that it's the case all the time. And you need to make sure that your runway is capable. So to start an approach, you need to make sure that the maximum glide slope angle is 3.25. The minimum glide slope angle is 2.5 degrees. If you have on the chart a Cat 3 minima, then for sure it means it meets their requirements. And for the wind as well, check your winds. Headwind is 25 knots headwind, crosswind, 25 knots if you have a fail operational 737, or 20 knots if it's fail passive. And finally, the tailwind is 10 knots. So this we have to check. Then system-wise, there is as well a couple of things to be checked. So we need a lot of systems to fly a Cat 2 or Cat 3 approach. And those systems are listed in the QRH, and this is just a summary. So basically, if you have no malfunction and no MEL entries, you can consider that your aircraft is capable. If not, just check these requirements. You need, of course, 2 autopilots, you need 2 flight directors, 2 vertical speed indicators, we need 2 altimeters, 2 radio altimeter, very important, 2 IRSs. We need the decision aids setting and display. You need the flight mode annunciator to be able to see the flare, to be able to see the retard, everything. ILS, of course, receiver and indication 2. You need 2 AC source, electrical AC source. So that's as well very important. If you lose a generator, then APU can be used as a source. We will give it a try now to see and to see if the PMDG 737 is simulating that. Finally, 2 hydraulic system and 2 wipers. So if one of those is missing, you are not legally, you cannot legally fly a LVP approach. So be careful with that. And now let's try a demonstration as we are in a position freeze. So we are back on our 737, we are in position freeze, we are ready for the approach, and now what I will do, I will fail a generator to see if we get a message on our upper DU. So let's try that. Let's fail a generator. All right, so we'll go into failure, electrical, and we are going to fail generator 2 just now. So now what we expect is a master quotient electrical, and as a reminder, always remember on 737 when you see a master quotient electrical, it can be an engine fail. If you lose engine number 2, you will get electrical malfunctions because the generator goes off the bus. You will get some hydraulic low pressure, so you will have as well hydraulic. So anytime you get a master quotient on the 737, the first thing to do, check your engines, because that can be related to the engine. Now I check my engines, they are both running, everything looks normal, so I can assume it is an electrical malfunction. Clear the malfunction, and now we will do the QRH. So if you look now, the 737 is telling you no Autoland. This is because it has only one generator. Right now, the generator 1 is powering the AC bus 2 via the cross bus tie. And this is why one generator is providing AC to all the systems. So now we only have one AC generator. We have to restore a second AC generator, or we'll have to divert immediately. So right now we cannot do an Autoland. So the QRH will tell you to try to reset the generator. It is not working. We still have the generator off bus. So then it will ask us to start the APU. So let's start the APU and see if that helps. Okay, APU is about to be available. You know that the APU is available when you get the APU generator light here. So let's see when it's available. Here we go, generator off bus. Good, so now the QRH will tell you to put the APU generator on the affected side. So the right side is affected, so we'll put the generator on the bus. And now, as you can see, engine number 1, generator 1, is powering the AC bus 1, and the AC bus 2 is powered by the APU. So now, normally, this no Autoland should go. It didn't go, so that's something that should be cleared. Right, so as we want to practice an Autoland, we will clear the malfunction and we will fly this approach. So let's go for it. We'll go in FSiPanel and we'll clear the malfunction. Generator 2 fail, clear the malfunction. All right, now when I clear the malfunction, the generator will have to be put on the bus by myself, otherwise it will never come back online. So I will have to do it like this. Now I don't need my APU, but I will leave it on. And this no Autoland should be cleared, and it doesn't clear, so we cannot do an Autoland. Right, this is not very good. How can I fix that now? I have no Autoland. We'll try an approach, we see if the Autoland is coming, but normally that should be cleared because I have 2 generators now on the bus. So that's not normal. Okay, let's fly this approach and see if it clears. So I'll take the control, holding my brake 3 seconds. Now I'm gonna arm the approach. And as I am armed the approach, let me show you something. If I don't arm the approach and I press Command B, we are simply changing the source to the right side. Command A, we change it to the left side. So as soon as you arm the approach and you have lock and glide slope arm, now you can engage your second autopilot and you will have the 2 autopilot engage. When we capture the approach, only one channel will be used, and when the glide slope is captured, then the bus here will split to make sure that if we have a failure, they are completely independent. So this is done automatically. And let's see what happened now. We are coming close to the localizer. So we should get localizer captured anytime soon. Localizer is alive. Perfect, you can see my deviation there. Single channel Warlock. Now we can set inbound track 134. And now we start slowing down the aircraft. You see glide slope alive, so we'll go gear down. Flaps 15. We can bug 15 and do the items. So the items there, the lights, these engine start switches to continuous, arm the speed brake. Okay, arm the speed brake, done. Perfect, glide slope captured, set missed approach altitude 4,000 feet. We are reaching icing condition. Let's put the engine anti-ice on. Here we go. Now when we fly this approach, we're gonna fly with flaps 40. As you can see there, flaps 40. So to slow down the aircraft, to make sure we are not doing any flaps over speed, as the flaps 40 limitation is around 158, what you wanna do is go flaps 25. So I will go flaps 25. When you go flaps 25, you can bug 25. Once your speed reach the bug, now you can go flaps 40 and set your V approach. In that case, 141 plus 5, 146. Now we are set. Now we will have an assessment by the aircraft to see if it can meet and do the landing. So that has happened and we are still in single channel. So now we know that we will not be able to land most probably, so we will execute a missed approach as the weather is very bad, and then I will reposition the aircraft just to show you the landing sequence. So now we will do landing checklist. So landing checklist, engine start switches are continuous, speed brake is arm, landing gear is down, and flaps 40, green light. All right, so if we don't get the auto land, we will have to continue our descent to Cat 1 minimum only. So Cat 1 minimum in Zurich was 1,610 feet. So by 1,600 feet, we will have to go around. Always make sure that you set your missed approach altitude as soon as you are on a glide slope. I will make another video very soon to show you the trap when you're doing go around, because go around, there is two types of go around. When you are ready for a go around like now, and when you are not expecting a go around, and you might be surprised. All right, so we are ready and we will go around now at 1,600 feet. So go around, toga, flaps 15. Now we check the thrust, always check the thrust. We have a positive rate, gear up. Above 400 feet, engage LNAV. And now we got LNAV is not, okay, no problem. We go straight ahead. I can use my command. I will revert to heading cell. And we can go level change. And now we are flying. Climbing 4,000 feet, vertical speed. Reduce your rate of climb. We will bug up. And now I can go flaps 5. Okay, passing flaps 1. Let's go flaps 1. And now we'll fly 220 knots, which is above the up speed. We have alt acquired at 4,000 feet. Flaps up. Altitude hold. Now we have to fix our navigation. Alt hold. So what I need to do now, you see that point here. I will just go straight ahead to that point. Execute LNAV. And now the aircraft is flying the missed approach, which is 5.1 miles from the ILS. Left turn on 359 to intercept Zurich East radial that we can set now active on nav1. Okay, now we have all told. We will do the after takeoff checklist. We are out of icing condition, so I can turn off my anti-ice. We will set the auto brake to off and the landing gear to off and retract the speed brake. Good. Now we've done the after takeoff checklist and we should look at the problem. We cannot do the approach, and this is because the aircraft there doesn't accept the 2 generators, so that should be fixed. Let me try something. If I go to setup aircraft failure, I have 1 active failure. What is it? Okay, I will clear all the failure and see if that clear that Autoland. No, it doesn't clear the Autoland. So what I will do, I will put the aircraft back on ground and I will just show you another approach quickly on short final to show you all the sequence of an Autoland. Here the aircraft is flying the missed approach, and there, if you really have that message now, we will start looking for an alternate, or if you have fuel, like it's the case right now, maybe expect an improvement in Zurich and fly the approach in a couple of minutes. All right, so let's bring the aircraft back on ground and I will show you an Autoland, how it should be done. All right, I just put the aircraft back on runway 14 in Zurich. I will just set the training weight here. So let's put 5 tons of fuel. That's good. And as the 0 fuel weight for the payload, I will put 55 tons. So we should be at around 60 tons for landing, which is quite light. Let's go 58. That's good. All right, so now I have my training weight and I will use FSiPanel to put me on a vector. I always like to be on vectors when I fly low visibility to give me the time to set up everything and to configure the aircraft myself. Now, as you can see, we have a fuel master caution. This is because of the center pumps. They are on while we have no fuel in the center tank, but FSiPanel will take care of that when it sets the aircraft for you, so you don't need to worry about that. So let's go for FSiPanel and select that approach. All right, so now as you can see, Zurich is showing low IFR. We are on runway 14, this is correct. We're gonna go left-hand vectors. And again, I will change my profile to flaps 40. As I'm going on vector, that means FSiPanel will set my FMC for a flaps 40 landing. If you will select a long final with flaps 40, you will have the aircraft with flaps 40 already. This is just now, in our case, to have the FMC program for flaps 40 landing. Ready to go, move aircraft. And we will let FSiPanel do the work. You will see the fuel will be fixed automatically. That's done. Gear is moving up, perfect. And our FMC entry is done. And what happened in our go around, why we didn't get the navigation, I will explain it to you right now. If you look in your chart right now, sorry, in your map display, you can see that the aircraft expects us to fly via Charlie India 14 and then via Osnem for the ILS. So if we don't fly to this waypoint, it will remain as the active waypoint. And then even if we are close to Zurich, the aircraft will expect you to fly to Charlie India 14, and therefore the missed approach was not available. So what I will do to fix it on that second approach is simply to insert a direct Osnem in front of us, and that should fix our issue. Or you can put vectors. I will show you that as well just now. So we are getting ready, 3 seconds to take control. We remember from the previous approach that it's a radio altimeter 50 feet minima. We have 134 for the course, the ILS frequency 1175, 1175. We pre-select our missed approach VOR. And auto brake is 2, and I'm ready to go. So what I want to show you is this now. You have two options. Either you go direct OSNAM, and now as you can see, that's a straight line in front of us. Or what you can do is put the inbound track to the runway, which is 134. It's already there, but sometimes it's wrong. So type in 134, put it here, and then push execute. So now you have a straight line, and the aircraft knows that you want to intercept that inbound track to the runway, or in fact to OSNAM. If you want to the runway, just go runway 14 on top, 134, execute. If you do that, you are 100% sure that you will have your missed approach ready for you should you hit your toga button, right? So we are ready to fly the approach. So I will show you what are the steps on the 737 that are very important when you fly a low visibility approach. So let's take the control. System-wise, this time we don't have any malfunctions there. We don't have the no Autoland. So I will arm the approach. As soon as I arm the approach, I can put my second autopilot. And for the aircraft configuration, always be stabilized latest by 1000 feet on the low visibility approach. That's very important. Be conservative because it's bad weather, so you have to be ready. Usually on that 7.3, what you can do is as soon as you see your glide slope moving, or between 8 to 6 miles, go gear down flaps 15. Once you're on the glide slope, go for your landing flaps, landing checklist, and you will be safe all the time. Right, so now we are monitoring our localizer. We can see that we are getting 0.9 miles left of track right now, so we will get on the localizer very soon. Here it comes, localizer is alive. And single channel localizer captured. I will set my inbound track 134. Getting localizer, glide slope, is alive, about 1 dot. We can go gear down, flaps 15. We bug 15. And now you do your flow. So turn off light on, and start switches to continuous, and arm your speed brake. Good. Glide slope is captured. As soon as you see glide slope captured, set missed approach altitude. Remember that. Then we need to be stabilized by 1000 feet. So now I'm above the flaps 40 placard speed. So I will go flaps 25 and bug 25. And now that we are below the placard speed, I can go flaps 40 and check what will be my approach speed. 139 plus 5, 144. 144 is set. Now around 1500 feet, now you can see flashing localizer and glide slope. This is where the aircraft is looking for system capability. If you pass that, you get land 3, flare arm, or on a fail passive, you will get only flare arm. If you didn't engage the autopilot by now, you still have a chance until you have 800 feet radio altimeter. So if at 1500 you don't have this land 3 flare arm, probably you forgot the second autopilot. So make sure you put it on before 800 feet. Okay, now we are reaching 1000. To be fully stabilized, we do the landing checklist, and don't forget the anti-ice as the weather is freezing fog. All right, so let's go for the landing checklist. Engine start switches continue, speed brake is armed, the landing gear is down, and the flaps are 40 green light. Temperature is about 10 now, so we need the anti-ice. Perfect. 1000, we are stabilized. Missed approach altitude set. That's as well a reminder when you hear 1000 feet, checked, missed approach altitude set. So you know that you will be safe in case of missed approach. You can see as well that my next waypoint is runway 14, so now I will have my go-around track. Good, so now we are continuing down. The next thing we are expecting here is the 400 feet, the aircraft will start to trim up. This is a system on the 737 to prepare for the flare. So let's have a look. 500 feet, we check flare arm, and now you will start to see the trimming phase at around 400 feet. Trimming up, as you can see, normal. So don't worry about that. Next will be flare at 50 feet. So we can see the approach light. So now we know we're gonna land, so continue the approach. And we look at 50 feet for flare to become active. Approaching minimum checked. And now 50 feet radio altimeter flare, 27 feet retard. Now the aircraft is touching down. You can check rollout mode is engaged. Go reversers. We use the reversers around 280 knots or 60 knots, depending on your airline procedures. Around 80 knots now, I will close my reversers. I'll take autopilot off, manual braking, 60 knots, reducing to a safe taxi speed. I can now slowly vacate the runway. Remember, we are in low visibility, so you don't want to taxi fast. So this is why you can use as well the after landing flow by FSiPanel. So let me show you that. I vacate the runway. The speed is less than 15 knots and I want to concentrate on my taxi. So the only thing I have to do is retract one notch of flaps. Now I'm flaps 40. I will go to flaps 25 and from there FSiPanel is taking over the control. As you can see, auto brake off, the flaps are moving up, and FSiPanel will do all the rest. So let's stop and have a look at the after landing flow. So if I stop now, and we can see that the lights, landing lights have been turned off. We have the taxi light on, the engine start switches are back to off, the APU is starting, the flaps are moving up, and auto brake is off, and we have the transponder back to altitude reporting, and everything has been set for us to taxi the airplane safely to the gate. Alright guys, if you have any questions or any comments, let's have a look at the landing report before, so we can see what happened on that beautiful auto land. So when we do an auto land, we expect a perfect report. It was a bit long, but otherwise on center line, nice rate of descent. So usually when the autopilot flies the approach, as you can see there, we have a beautiful track. So this is perfect. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you have any question or comment, please drop it below and I will try to answer your questions. Thank you very much. And as always, stay safe. Bye-bye.